Hello there and welcome to another self-promotion, to say the very least. This is a self-promotion for another one of my books. This is The Four Friends, Volume 1. And in Volume 1 we see 4 short adventures featuring the characters Charlie, Brock, Spencer and Anna. Now, I'm only promoting this because, of course, well, why not? And also, this video may or may not be appropriate for this sort of promotion if you have younger ones, because this is a book for younger audiences. So I hope you buy a copy today, or at least pre-order whenever this gets released. Of course, it's released on the 5th of December 2025, and of course, if this video is before or after that time, it really depends, obviously. But regardless, I hope you enjoy the remainder of this video. This is just a very short, shameless promotion for my own stuff so you can give me more money. I mean, entertain yourselves with one of my products. Hello there and welcome to another edition of Rules Unveiled. This time I'm going to have a look at Series 7 Heat J. I hope you enjoy. The melee with Chronic, Cobra, Kraken and Pincer is the last time RefBot counted 2 robots out at the same time. Thermidor 2 was the only 14th seed to reach the semi-finals in the series, in which it was seeded as such, doing so in Series 7. Mighty Mass was the only machine to be defeated by Thermidor 2, who held on to a judge's decision. Both of Mighty Mass's first round melees in the UK Championship saw it face a seeded robot that threw an opponent out of the arena for the last time in its career, another veteran, and one robot that never appeared in any other episode. In addition, those melees were also the first battles of the corresponding heats it featured in. All of Mighty Mass's battles featured at least one robot with a flipper. The Series 8 version of Beast was originally conceived shortly after Series 7, with the intentions of entering a potential future series as early as 2005. However, it would not end up appearing on Robots until, of course, 2016. During this heat with the Kraken, Jonathan P.S. referred to its team's prior experience on the show, stating that it had competed with a previous robot. However, its predecessor, Victor, was not referenced by name. Both of Kraken's battles featured Mr. Psycho as one of the house robots. Like its predecessor, Victor, the Kraken appeared in a heat that did not feature a semi-finalist from the previous series. On 2 of those occasions, they lost to the eventual heat winner, who would then lose to the eventual champion of that series, i.e. Trident losing to Chaos 2 in Series 3, and Thermidor 2 losing to Typhoon 2 later on. In Series 7, the Chronic team carried a model of Chronic the Wedgehog in the pits and the control booth, and showed it to Craig Charles in the post-round 2 interview. The model itself resembled the robot's Series 6 appearance. The team's website featured instructions on how to build a model of Chronic the Wedgehog, but the model seen in the show was likely different. Despite competing in 4 series, Chronic the Wedgehog never took part in any side competition or series of Robots Extreme. In 2011, Chronic received an honorable mention in the Robot Combat Hall of Fame as a result of its successes in the live events held during Robot Wars' hiatus. All of the robots or teams that beat Chronic the Wedgehog were previous or future semi-finalists. After Robot Wars, Chronic would undergo several major changes: a bigger, more powerful flipper, and adjusted shape. Chronic would win 2 UK championships and would attempt to enter BattleBots with Chronic with a C. Eventually, Chronic would be converted into the Series 8 champion, Apollo. Prior to Series 7, Cobra attempted to qualify for Series 5 and 6, and in the Series 7 qualifiers, Cobra beat a black robot with skull and crossbones on it. Could be Hellbent, but we don't know. Heat J is the second time that Thermidor 2 and Chronic the Wedgehog were in the same heat. Both of said heats were the only 2 that Thermidor 2 won. Indeed, if Chronic the Wedgehog had beaten Mighty Mouse, it would have fought Thermidor 2 in a rematch of the Heat Final as well. Team Beast, Team Mouse and Thermidor 2 would all later compete in Heat E of Series 8. In the World Championship qualifier in this heat, Reptilian's image on the statistic board appears to be a cropped version of its pre-battle shot of it under the arena spotlight, instead of a studio shot like almost all other competitor statistic boards. It is possible this was because the robot was brought in short notice, since Arachnia took significant damage during the main competition. During the house robot introductions for the battle between Thermidor and the Kraken, the shot of Cassius Chrome is mirrored, his black eye is shown on his left of his face instead of the right. The same introductions also feature a continuity error. The clip for Mr. Psycho shows him occupying the top right CPZ. However, the very next shot shows Cassius Chrome taking his place during the countdown to activate. Because Chronic the Hedgehog fought Thermidor 2 in Series 4, Pinsir and Cobra were the only two competing robots in this heat not to fight Thermidor 2 at any point. Mobot was the second robot in the UK series to run primarily on one wheel for one drive after the Dark Destroyer, and the first to feature one powered wheel on any one side of the machine. Similarly, the Series 3 version of the Grim Reaper also had one wheel at the bottom, but also two wheels on the sides. At the front, like Mobot, Dark Destroyer appeared to be in the same heat as Thermidor 2 and Chronic the Hedgehog, with Thermidor 2 winning both heats. Dark Destroyer also appeared in Heat F of Series 3, but Thermidor 2 and Chronic the Hedgehog did not, with Chronic the Hedgehog not even appearing until Series 4. Along with Topbot, Mobot was one of the first robots in Robot Wars to intentionally use a undercutter spinner design. Mobot was one of 3 robots that only fought in Series 7, thrown out the arena, and be from a team that never appeared in any other series. The others were Hellbent and the Scrapper. Mobot was the only robot to be thrown out the arena by Thermidor 2 that never won a heat. Of the 3 newcomers in Heat J of Series 7, Pinsir was the only one to appear in another episode. Jonathan Pierce refers to the Crusher Crunch-Up as the Crusher Carve-Up, when Pinsir appeared in the arena for the first round melee in Heat J of Series 7. Heat that Pinsir obviously competes in. Cobra is one of the few robots to use the same name from both Robot Wars and Technogames, due to it appearing on Technogames first. Pinsir is possibly the only robot to be immobilized by the flame jet on the arena floor, and managed to be visibly affected by the hazard in both of its battles. And finally, in its 7th Wars qualifier, Mighty Mouse fought Beast and TX-09, with Beast winning. Mighty Mouse was originally selected as a reserve, but was then brought into the main competition. And that is it for today. Series 7 Heat J. Now, this is a heat which, when I was younger, I used to really like a lot. I think it was because of the types of robots that were involved. You know, Thermidor, Mighty Mouse, Chronic, even the Kraken was pretty cool. And, I think, in a way, when you see the first melee where Thermidor throws Mobot out the arena, it's just such a great visual moment. And unfortunately, it's one of those episodes where if you watch it again, that praise that you might have for this particular episode, this heat, it kind of dissolves a bit. I think one of the major issues with this heat overall is the fact that it is a heat that it slows down quite rapidly after the first 2 melees. So the first 2 melees, there's a lot of action packed, it's very fast paced and all that. And then you get the side event, which is just kind of slow, and then you get round 2, which is slow, and then you get the heat final, which is slow, and so what you end up getting is a very awkward heat. The Thermidor versus Kraken fight in particular, he just flips Kraken trying to get a KO, and it's so awkward, and it's so slow, and it's so iffy, and that's the problem with this heat. It's a very iffy heat. I mean, it's got a great set of robots, don't get me wrong, but it is a heat that maybe when you're younger, you might think, oh wow, this is amazing. You remember all these wonderful wild things about it, and you think about all the great robots, and then you rewatch it, and it just goes down in your estimation. That's the problem with Series 7 Heat J. It is a heat that has a lot of great robots, it has some great moments, but at the same time, it just goes down in your estimation. And also the fact that, of course, the vengeance between Chronic and Thermidor is completely ruined by the fact that Mighty Mouse gets that very lucky win on Chronic. It's a real shame. It would have been amazing to see these two fights, see how much they improved. Who knows, maybe Chronic would have defeated Thermidor. As we know, Thermidor has a lot of reliability issues, and it was defeated by a similarly designed prize fighter, but who knows. It's one of those things that is a big what if. Anyways, this is still a decent episode, I guess, but it is also kind of like one that when you're younger, it's probably much better than it is now. Alright, so let's have a look at what we're going to get next time around. So we're going to get the Extreme Warriors Series 1 Annihilator. Now, this is one fantastic Annihilator. I think a lot of people love this one. It's particularly just the pure, unadulterated mayhem for the first few rounds. The final is pretty lame, not gonna lie. But anyways, hope you enjoyed this edition of Rules Unveiled, and I'll see you next time.